One. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. I believe we call it Africa is Next. And this is Mr. Extrodin with my co-host, Tebel Lokhala. Um, and we have a special guest today. It's Buckmeister or Buckmeister. I'm not sure how to pronounce it yet.
Meister's fine.
Meister. Right?
So
So
like it's German, right?
Yeah, I didn't know it was German. Funny story, just to give you guys the quick origin. I used to
hmm.
crump in high school.
Oh, J
Yeah,
Squad.
so yeah. I was that era. J Squad, all of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Stomp
yeah.
the yard, everything. So that's where the name comes from. I didn't know it was German until like I want to say maybe last year.
Cool, cool, cool,
I
cool,
didn't even
cool.
know it was. I didn't even know it was German until now.
Well, the
Cause,
spelling gave it away.
cause the Meister thing for me, I got it from Stifler, the Stiffmeister, from American Pie.
Oh,
Okay,
oh.
okay, now.
Yeah, but apparently though it means master or something. So I'm like I'll take it. It's fine.
Uh, I had to do a little bit of research on a certain character in War Angel. That's why I realized,
Mm.
oh, that's where the term Meister comes from, because the character uses a Zweihander, which is a big ass sword, and when you have to dive deep into the lore of each character, and you realize, oh, okay, these cool words sound cool. What do they mean?
Yeah,
So,
Mhm.
yeah. No, I get it. It's like with Hiramo Arakawa, who did Full Metal Alchemist. I
Mhm.
didn't even know what Führer means or Führer or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce
No
it.
one knows how to pronounce it, Chief.
But I was like, oh, there's a rank. There's a rank called the Führer or whatever. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, Führer. Sorry,
Führer.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Führer. Yeah, the
yeah.
Führer. Yeah. Because you're reading,
Which
if you're
yeah,
reading
which is
the
no. Go
sub,
ahead, go ahead.
the
Sorry.
sub, when you're reading the sub, watching the anime, you don't know you can't pronounce it.
The
So,
Führer.
Mm,
yeah.
Die Führer.
yeah,
Sieg Heil.
yeah. Oh,
It's
wait, Chief, we too black for that.
what?
Anyway. Thanks for joining us, man.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
we just wanted you to, for the viewers rather, or the listeners, to actually get to know who you are. I mean, I know we already recorded a Young Justice one, but we just wanted to get to know you a bit better. So, bro, where are you from originally, man?
Me, I was born in Phosphorus. That's the origin. That's
Oh, dope,
that's
dope,
yeah,
dope.
that's where I was born. But then we moved around. My dad was a diplomat, so we traveled when I was a kid. That's where the accent comes from. So when
Awesome.
everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's American," it's like, "Ish, no, it's not." That's not what happened.
So
Like,
what did
yeah.
you move to? Like, first from
Uh,
first.
Yeah, first of all, then we went to Saudi Arabia. Then after Saudi,
Ooh.
well, I
Oh,
mean, we didn't go straight to Saudi Arabia. We went to like Pretoria, then we went to Saudi Arabia. Then I went to Germany. Then I went to Sudan, and then came back here. Yeah, so it was bouncing around for like most of my primary school and high school.
but how was that like, man? Moving from place to place, getting new friends, then now you have to make new friends and
Ish, yeah, it used to be painful. I used to cry like it was a movie. I'll never see you again.
plus there was no social media then, so you didn't
There
even
was no
think it.
Facebook.
Yeah, you
No,
never
I
thought.
mean it was around, but it wasn't what it is now. So I mean,
Oh,
but like yeah, I mean, you kids as a kid, you get used to certain things. So you just like you cry for like a day or two, and then you just move on to a new reality. I think the toughest thing for me personally with growing up was whenever I come back to South Africa and like I was never like keyed into what people were doing here, and
oh
now
yeah.
I'm watching different cartoons. I'm watching different, I have different references. I have different
Mhm.
TV shows and all of that stuff. Plus then there's the accent, and like
The
people
culture.
kokasi,
Mm.
they like when they hear an accent, it's the cheese boy, it's ama yo
Ah,
yo, and and then all of that stuff. So I think as a kid that was a big thing for me, where I was just trying to, I mean, now I'm over it. Like now it's, because I didn't grow up speaking like my mother tongue. I didn't grow up speaking my home language and everything. And even now, it's still shaky. But like, yeah, that was a big deal for me as a kid because I always wanted to be able to fit in, especially with like, because like South African culture was cool to me. I was like, I want to be that cool and I can't be cool. But like, yeah, now it's just, learn the ropes. It is what it is. And I sound the way I sound. If I'm a yo-yo, it is what it is. I can't change it. I went through 3 accents as a kid. This is the one that stuck.
And you're not an only child. I think you have a brother, right? Or is it just the two of you?
Oh, no, we 6 in the
Whoa.
house. Yeah, it's twang central. We all twanging. But yeah, we 6 in the house. So I have 4 sisters, and then it's me and my brother.
So are you like the middle child, last born?
Yebo, second born, first boy.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's really cool, man. So,
But none of the privileges, 0.
but do you experience that whole deputy parent thing though?
Kind of, but it's.
I think.
I mean, the thing is, my parents were great. My parents were like, it was not like they ever just were not there, and I just had to take care of everything. And also, my big sister as well was really dope growing up. She was also, I mean, she had her things as well, because sisters have things, but like in terms of being there for her siblings, yeah, I didn't have this thing of where I have to step up now. I never felt like I had to be a parent, so I'm lucky that way.
You were never Ichigo.
No. No, no bankai for me, Buffett.
So you want to say something, Tebello?
No, I'm trying to think about it, but is Ichigo really that much of a good example?
Well, I mean, he's good to his sisters, right? His 2 sisters?
Oh, yeah. He's the only stable good
Well,
sister.
I mean, he's the only anime protagonist who has a father, so I think.
Where's the living father?
No, a living father that's good. Remember, there's
That's
a bunch
good.
of
There you
living fathers.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
There you
living
go.
fathers in
There you
anime,
go.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I like you want to ask these guys in Japan, Buffett too. What's Allah? What's happening?
You guys have dating issues?
What's the level of dating issues they have?
Why is every father a deadbeat? Why is he always mean to his kid? I don't understand.
And why does he always appear when you're about to die?
Exactly.
No, sometimes he's the cause. Like Baki,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes like he's the reason, and it's like, yo, what is happening, guys?
Yeah, speaking of that, man, I just wanted us to get into that. Like, when did your fascination with cartoons start? I mean, okay, all of us grow up watching cartoons. Well, not all of us, but some people grow out of it. They'll say, this thing is for kids, and they stop watching it. And yeah, you're like us who continue to watch it, even though a lot of people still consider it to be childish.
Okay, here's the thing though. Like just with that, I'll answer your question now because I'm getting the gist of it, right? What kept me going? So I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. It's just that that thing kind of annoys me because I'm just like, so what? We must watch Generations. Is Isi Dingo? Is that what we do?
No, absolutely not. You must watch The Bold and the Beautiful.
Those things are cartoons. Let's just think about it. Like those things are ridiculous. Like
sorry, go ahead. One question, like, how old do you think the people animating these things are? If it's kids animating, then fine, it's for kids. But if it's adults who have to sit and draw and come up with storylines, it's not.
No, I mean also, but I'm just saying, like these, like, have you ever tried to watch reality TV? Just 5 minutes of it.
It's
and you want to tell me that, and you want to tell me that's better than a cartoon? What are we doing here? No, at least I know my characters are good. Like my characters are dope people. My characters have powers. I don't want to see people argue about, yo, you slept with my baby daddy for like the 50th time. I don't care.
Or you found out that to keep the oil business in the family, your sister-in-law married your cousin, or something like that. Is like, damn, freaking. Your You all thought that was a good idea?
Yeah. Like for me, it's not even a contest. Like, what else do you want me to watch? Do you want me to watch people just get drunk for 5 hours and talk about how much they hate each other? I don't know. But
One thing,
just to
On
answer
that
your
note,
question,
I have a question. Okay, answer this question. I've got a question
okay,
of my own.
all right. But just to answer your question, the thing that kept me going is because my cousin, when we were growing up, we used to wake up early in the morning and watch Dragon Ball Z. So that was like my first introduction to animation, and like that was the thing that like it was so cool. Like we like after we watch the episode, we go outside and kids were punching each other and I'm blasting
Ah!
you.
Ah!
Yeah. We got Cartoon Network and Boomerang and all of that stuff. So I got to watch Tom and Jerry and Scooby Doo and all of that stuff. And it was just like it was cool to see all of these different styles and different stories, and like a lot of it was funny. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
yeah,
yeah, it was just I got a lot of good stuff also. That was just what happened. And then I was like as I was growing up, I did have a moment. It was just a moment. It was a small thing where I'm like, am I too old for this? And then I went and watched the episode and I was just like, nah. I was like, no, no, no.
I think we all had that one moment, like
yeah.
when I think
But it was
when
brief. It was short. It
my
was just
for me it was like my first week of high school when you're in grade 8 and you thought we are now
uh,
in high school. We are now going to be teenagers. Teenagers don't watch cartoons. 5 days later, and I'm thinking, fuck this, I'm watching Pokemon.
You gotta catch them all.
yes.
That's the stress of the school. How do I de-stress with what? Anyway, which brings me to
Pokemon, I couldn't get into Pokemon though. They yelled too much for me. I was just like, all right, guys, every 5 minutes we're posing.
no, no,
Every five
no,
minutes.
no.
Sorry, Tobelo, what was your question? Sorry.
Every 5 minutes, yeah, every 5 minutes, Team Rocket is doing the intro song. To this day, everybody knows those words. I think you can pick up a phone, call someone in somebody in Asia somewhere. And it's like prepare for trouble. They'll know the rest.
Oh,
Make it double.
yeah,
They're like,
Full stop.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, my question is, okay, let's say, what are your thoughts about if somebody were to come, if somebody, let's say you're trying to go on a date and then she asks you, do you watch the Popeye? What is your response after that?
Yes. 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 Yes, I do. And what?
I'll leave her on red.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Your point is.
Problem?
I,
No, I just no, because my thing is like everybody has a thing.
yeah,
Everybody. Like if you listen to guys talk about cars, listen to
for sure.
guys talk about cars. It sounds like the nerdiest conversation. Yeah, I've got this V6, I've got this six piston engine, it's got two exhausts. It's like, bro, to anybody else, it sounds like gibberish. Like if you don't know, like yeah, it sounds the same. Like everybody's a nerd about something. So this
I,
idea that the Popeye is an issue, it's like why?
I,
What
I, I,
exactly?
I'll go into the more controversial line of saying we are all a geek, nerd, whatever you want to call it, is somebody who's passionate about something.
Yeah.
So whether it's about cars, whether it's about sports, I mean, listen to the guys going about rugby and soccer
And
and
soccer.
Pirates and Chiefs. Heck, whether it's even about something as intimate as church, have you seen how people can obsess about church to the level of passion they put it? And you're gonna tell me that's not some level of geekdom that's
It is.
Involved.
It is.
I
Quoting
mean, the church
scripture.
has the Bible
Yeah,
has superpowers. So
yeah.
And the
If
Bible has witchcraft, superpowers, demons. It's anime, bro.
if somebody goes crazy about quantum theory, you're gonna call them a nerd because he studied about it and everything. The same level of passion that happens in a church, quote unquote, when somebody's quoting the scriptures or quoting the Quran or anything like that, and then we dismiss that as normal, as opposed to when somebody goes obsessive when you talk about things like Ben 10, Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yeah.
Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z. I think it just reveals a level of hypocrisy in society sometimes.
True. True.
And
Yeah, but I mean, like for me, I had that since like high school. Like there were people in high school, like, why don't you talk to girls? And it's like, I was, but like they were like, why don't you do this and do that? And I'm like, I don't understand why me watching cartoons is an issue. Like I did get bullied for it in school. Now it's cool, which is great. I'm happy that it's cool now because that stuff. But like, yeah, I had that stuff in high school.
Oh yeah, and comic books. How did you get into comic books?
Oh, comic books. Well, I mean, in thingy like when I was a kid. I don't know if you guys ever saw it like on Fox TV or something like that. Like there was a channel that used to play the '90s Spider-Man thing.
oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. So I found out that he was from a comic book, and then I went to like my library, and then like what I used to do is I used to sit on the computer and I used to go through the Marvel wiki because I didn't have any access to comic books, so I just used to read the Marvel wiki like crazy. Then finally my library got comic books, and that's when I started getting comic books and all of that stuff. So yeah, that I think I was around about like I want to say 13, 11, 12, 13, somewhere there. Yeah, in that age range where I started like I picked up a physical book. I mean, my first comic book was Super Strikers. That I got that when I was 8 because of you go get the Sunday Times and then you'll see like Shakes doing something and I didn't know what that was, but that was like my first comic. But in terms of the
I,
superhero stuff,
I
yeah, I
swear to
was
God,
about like yeah.
I swear to God, our parents must have cringed on the first Sunday of every month because that's when the new issues came out, and
And we
we'd
used
be
to buy
like,
newspapers even though we didn't read them. We just wanted the comic.
No,
like, hi,
I have never read one daily. I don't even know
the
one
Sunday Times.
headline
For what?
thing.
Thank you. Take the rest. It was Super Strikers in that annoying magazine where they show all
magazine.
the programs. That
Yeah,
magazine
it
Mm.
was
that shows
called,
you what's
it was called
playing on
magazine,
Saturday,
right?
Sunday, whatever it's called.
Yeah. You remember DSTV had something similar called Dish, where it showed
Mm.
all the shows that are going to be playing that month and movies and stuff. That was crazy. But
You know,
I want to
we're
know,
showing our
so
age.
how did you get from reading these things and wanting to do these things?
So, interesting story. It first started out of spite. So
Okay.
yeah,
Now,
like
now I'm leaning in. You see, this is juicy stuff. I want to hear this. It's a revenge story. You're an touch it to me now, man.
not anymore, but like it started out that way because I used to have an issue with Marvel where like I used to be on forums and I used to have an issue with Marvel where I was like, where are the black superheroes? Like where like they get one issue they show like I used to get annoyed because Black Panther was my favorite. Like it was Spider-Man, Black Panther, Wolverine. Those were my favorite. But Black Panther, it was hard to find anything for this guy.
True.
Like it was at a point where you have to read a 50-page comic just to see him in 4 panels. And it's like, dog, where is this guy? So
Yeah.
I used to go on forums and videos, and then basically people would just be telling me, you know what, stop hating on Marvel if you don't like it, and DC. DC is also jealous, is also guilty of this. It's not just Marvel, but like if you don't like it, you must just make your own. And I said, you know what, shut up. You know what? Yeah, okay, fine.
Oh,
I
interesting.
will. And that's kind of just how it started. I mean, I was always gonna do it, but I just think that kicked it into gear. And my issue was with them at the time was is that if you never say it, like if you never advertise yourself that way, fine, that's fine. But Marvel kept on trying to say we are the inclusive what and we have what, and I'm just like, but then where are the characters? Like you
Why
can't
is
like I saw one panel and it was
why is
like
every
this.
why is everything more Caucasian than the Caucasus Mountains?
Yeah. So like I remember reading this one panel of Avengers where this guy is asking Thor, where are the black superheroes on the Avengers or whatever, and then Thor is like, we don't measure people by their skin, we measure people by their merit and character, and it's just like, but if that's the case, then but where are they? Because I'm sure they have merit and character too.
Exactly.
Let them like so
But no
kind
thoughts
of
from
that's kind
Asgard.
of where it started.
So that was none of his business. He's
You
from
know,
us,
literal,
like
a literal alien trying to tell us about
about
trying to
black
tell us.
people. Get the hell out of here, man.
You know?
Oh, that's interesting, man. So it initially became revenge, but you eventually got to be so zealous about it that it was no longer about that anymore, I'm assuming.
I think I was always gonna do it. There was always something that was gonna happen because I was always like I've been in I've not been in entertainment, but I've been on social media wanting to entertain people for a long time. So I think something was going to break. I just think that was the thing that kicked it in gear to say that if like I can't wait. Like as much as I must make noise, but I can't wait. I can't just be like, okay, these guys are no, I can't do that. So
If to I forgot to. I need to remember my sources, but anyway, there's a saying that says if they won't listen to you, then show them how.
Mm, But also, I just wanted to know, where did you get your ideas from, though? Obviously, yes, I get the thing that you want to create black characters and black superheroes, but obviously, you need to come up with a great storyline. You need to come up with great plot points, characters, side characters, villains, and all of
Yeah.
that. So where did you get the inspiration, to do that?
well, I think that's the thing that's nice about where I'm at right now is that I've consumed so much stuff that
Mm,
I've seen what works and what doesn't work and what's a trope and what's not a trope and all of that stuff. So I think coming up with because when I do my scripting process and I think it's working out pretty well for me is that I write all of the story beats of what I want to happen like from
right.
top to bottom, from start to finish. I'm like, okay, when we reach the end, this must be the conclusion. It's only just the middle parts that I have to figure out and how to get to point A and point B. But
Right.
in terms of coming up with stories and everything, one, I've accepted that there's nothing new under the sun. It's just the way you tell it. So
Right.
I don't try and stretch my brain to say this is going to be something they've never seen. I was like, chances are they've seen it. Like there's no way.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. If you look at it, even the stories that are considered quote unquote new or groundbreaking are just rehashes of old stories.
Yeah.
I I mean, The Matrix is basically a story about entering into a new world.
Yeah. It's the Wizard of Oz.
Basically it's the Wizard of Oz, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've accepted that. Like, it's just the way you tell it and the way you tell it using your voice. That's like the basis of all of my storytelling. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna have a superhero. He's gonna have a tragedy happen to him, but then he's gonna handle it maybe in a different way that the other heroes handle it, or whatever. Or like the way he gets the tragedy is going to be very different, and so on and so forth. And then also, I'm trying to separate because I'm making a bunch of like characters. Like so I'm making a whole superhero universe, and I've got like 4 characters right now that I've got solid ideas nailed down for.
Okay.
Do you mind if you
So,
give us a quick synopsis or a little bit of a teaser nyana or something like that about your characters or your
well,
story?
the Neon Wave, we're redoing. Well, I'm working with another guy called Art of Marvelous Wonder on Instagram. We're working on issue 2. We're working on issue 2 right now as we're speaking, and then also I have to redo issue 1. I've redrawn it. I've just got to put the titles and everything and all of that stuff. I mean, I redrew it a while ago. It's just that, you get busy with things. But just to give everybody a quick synopsis, and that's also going to be on Webtoons. I'm going to put it on Webtoons so anybody can go see it for free and all of that stuff because I got 2 other titles on Webtoons. But to give you a synopsis of Neon Wave in particular and that universe, so there's about 4 characters that are going to be like main characters. It's kind of going to be maybe my Trinity. I don't know.
Mhm.
So I've got let me say 6, not 4. Like the other two are also there. So the one is called Sefefo because I wanted to try and put more Basutu elements into my universe and all of that stuff. So
Relate.
yeah. So that's basically translate directly to Storm. So he's going to be like an Avatar Storm type character. And then there's a chick called Vendetta, and she's like the not Punisher because she's not crazy, but like she's the one who uses the guns and all of that stuff. And then and then obviously there's I think there's going to be the Shao Shogun is the other one, and that's like my ninja character person, all of that stuff. And then Neon Wave, he's like he's the Spider-Man of that universe. Not potentially, he is. So basically, with his story, because he's the one that's the most fleshed out right now, everybody else I still have to figure out where they fit. But his story basically is that, you know, in Josie, and like people are surprised when you say this, you're not supposed to look back, type of thing. You're not supposed to look around. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to try and
Don't look back.
Yeah.
So you're not.
I learned that the hard way. One day I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, you're not supposed to look back. You're not supposed to look around. You're not supposed to help people on the street, right? It's not in Josie. Like in Josie, every man for himself. You'll see to finish.
MTN station. You live by yourself. You die by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Neon Wave, he also learned this lesson in a hard way, because basically something is happening and he kind of gets himself involved, and it leads to like people close to him dying. So basically, he has to but he doesn't know where his powers come from. They kick in that event, and that's the reason he survives that particular event. So he's got a lot of like, survivor's remorse and everything, and he's even questioning whether he's a hero at all, because he wants to find this guy. And then that's kind of where we start. Is that he's looking for this particular guy, can't find him, but in the meantime, he's superheroing because he's like supposed to be like a good bra at heart type of thing.
I love it.
That's interesting. That's truly interesting. So it's based in South Africa.
Joburg, specifically.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. That's pretty cool. Wow, man. Is there anything you want to ask, Develo?
Oh no. I'm just in awe right now of that story. It's the question. Oh, you've already mentioned we'll be able to watch it on Webtoons, right?
I read it on Webtoons. Yeah, I just need to put in some of the dialogue, fix some of the other pages and all of that stuff. I'm not going to redraw it for a third time, because the thing is, like, as an artist, especially when I mean, you guys know, like when you get better and you want to revisit something, because you're like, ish, this does not look good. I want to make it better. But then the problem is that it never gets done. So like I have to, like, I'm at the point where I'm just like, when I put this out again on Webtoons or whatever, it's just going to be out. I'm not going to do this thing of I must redo it and do it again and redo it. No.
I mean, look at some of the first issues of your famous characters. The first Superman issue, how the first Wonder Woman looked like, how the first Batman looked like. That was not the best artwork in the world.
The first Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, but the concept was out there. At least we got an idea. Okay, this is a superpowered guy. This is a detective. This is a woman, a strong woman. That's it. This is a guy who puts it in the face. But the anatomy and the colors and some of it was off.
Yeah.
So hey, we can't be perfect. Not all of us are like Akira Toriyama or something. No, just
as the saying goes, done beats perfect any day.
Yeah,
because getting it done is more important than getting it perfect. We'll be honing that thing until the day we die, if we wait until perfect.
Yeah. Can you touch a bit about your podcasting journey? How did that come about?
So I've always been interested in talking to people, especially in this space as well. So like the podcasting kind of came first because like I was always a writer, so I wrote stuff and then I was going to get people to draw for me, but then that didn't work out, so that's why I picked up the drawing thing, because I was like, otherwise if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it type of thing. But I was always into like videoing and podcasting and all of that stuff first. So what happened is that this guy called Christian Reeve on YouTube, Christian Reeve on Instagram or whatever, he had me on his podcast, and he was like, yo, you're actually pretty good at this talking thing. Why don't you try do something? And I was like, why don't I try do something? So then what I would do is I would try and message people on Instagram, message friends, and all of that stuff. And then whoever responded, like hopefully you cross fingers, because sometimes, and sometimes I was even shooting for the stars, trying to get like some big guys from America or whatever on the pod. It worked like 3 times in a row. So I was like, hey,
Well,
this is
Who did you
something.
get? Who did you get?
Not, I mean, do you guys watch All Def Digital by any chance? Do you guys know All Def Digital by any chance?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, they were big to me, but you can
Yeah.
look it up. It's a fun channel in America. They do a bunch of variety content, and I also look at them to get inspired by some ideas and all of that stuff. But the point being is that like I would message people, and then I would get them on, and then yeah, that's basically how that started. Is that it was just me hitting people up, researching them, asking them some questions, and all of that stuff, and then like stuff like when I got to talk to Clyde, because I think Clyde is my second guest on the Creative Podcast. Clyde Beach, the guy who was coloring for Super Strikers and Quezi. So that happened because of when I went to Comic Con 2019. And then I kind of got his contact, and then I messaged him and hit him up and everything. And he was totally down. He was very nice. He was super professional. Like, and he's a busy guy. The fact that I got him for as long as I got him for was a big deal and
Right.
everything. Yeah. So, and then also, it was gonna lead to we were supposed to work on something together because he wanted me to write something for him. I did write it and I did send it to him. So hopefully we'll pick it up someday or whatever. But yeah. So I mean, that's how that started. It was just me talking to people and messaging them. And yeah, this guy called Christian Reeve just said, "Why don't you just try do this thing? Because you're actually pretty good at this talking, interviewing thing."
You said the guy's name is Christopher Reeve.
Christian
Oh,
Christian
okay.
Reeve.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like Superman.
Superman.
I actually call him Superman.
That's pretty cool, man. If someone else can actually see the potential of you doing something like that, then that says a lot about you, actually. But how has that been for you? I remember I watched one of your videos and you were saying that you've realized that most of your viewers are actually from overseas than from here. And how has that been for you, knowing that there are people
It's
overseas checking out your stuff?
it's nice and it's not nice. Like again, it's that thing of it's the accent. Like when people hear me talk, they thinking I'm from New York or whatever. What's funny though is that that's a very South African thing. Other New Yorkers and Americans will be like, you do not sound
sound like
American
us.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah, you sound like Trevor Noah to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I was trying to think like, but yeah, there you go.
But
Yeah, no.
he kind of looks like Eddie Griffin, right? Or is it just me?
Yeah.
You said it, I didn't.
Yeah. Wait, wasn't a bad looking guy, so I'm not mad.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, I think that's the thing is like it's the accent. So, and also it's just the way YouTube kind of works. Because I think we have to remember in South Africa, and Africa in general, access is hard for a lot of people. Like,
Mm.
it's not where the infrastructure is not where the infrastructure. Now I'm gonna sound like a comrade. The infrastructure is not where it needs to be. So for people to like connect and engage with this stuff is hard. So I think that's kind of also what contributes to my my audience, my primary audience being like overseas and everything.
And it's hard to ask, especially in the local market. It's hard to ask for someone to listen to an hour-long podcast when they've got only what 200, 300 gigs of megabytes of data.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you've got a very interesting point when you refer to the infrastructure not being where it is. So it highlights the realistic road that we need to walk towards when it comes to us bringing things like this to the public eye. That sure there are many people who may want to support, but the fact is they can't because of the infrastructure that kneecaps them, I think.
And also, the people who don't think that cartoons are for children, that's your market, basically. That's your audience.
Yeah.
South Africa is filled with people that think otherwise. So having to now find those people who will constantly want to check up your work, who have data, is challenging. Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting about that is, and this is where it becomes a little bit like Isan, is that we go to Marvel movies though. Like people
Yeah.
Right.
go to Marvel movies and they go to DC movies and they'll talk about DC movies and Marvel movies. Like I think when I say infrastructure, I do mean that people don't have data and all of that stuff. But I also think like there's not enough of a push to make it more of a bigger thing locally. I
The
just
media
I
is pushing it. The media
yeah,
is
like yeah, the media, like I think yeah, that's my point. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for clearing that up. I think the media that we have, they don't highlight this stuff enough. Like I don't like you see maybe Comic Con on SABC 2 what once or twice maybe you hear there's a thing
If at
going on
all. If at
if at
all.
all. And also Comic-Con themselves, like one thing that's always confused me is they never highlight like local talent and TV shows. It's very, very confusing. Like for
Yeah.
example,
yeah.
remember like Shadow or whatever on
Yes.
Netflix. It
Yes.
was supposedly a big deal for like a day, for like a half a day or something. And I'm like, they
Yeah.
didn't have anybody there to talk about the show or the panels or anything. Like they didn't have a perfect
Super.
example.
Mm.
Perfect example. Atandwa Kani and John Kani from Black Panther. They didn't have them for an interview. Like
And they're
But
here.
nothing.
they had
The
Anthony Mackie and they had
the local boy, they're
Mac-
from here.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to interview them and ask them what it was like to be on a Marvel set, what it was like to meet Chris Evans and Kevin Feige. You don't want to ask
and
them what it was like to hang out with Chadwick Boseman. You don't
I
want
mean,
to ask
and
them,
they
for
were
heaven's
both Black
sake,
Panther. They were both T'Chaka. Both of them
yeah.
were actually
yeah,
Marvel characters.
yeah.
Yes, I mean, like, what was that like? How did you get hired? Like, what do you have the costume? Did you get to keep the costume?
Right.
Like,
Why
is
did
there
it
a
have to
TV
take
show?
us? Why did it have to take us finding out from an international source that Trevor Noah was the AI in Black Panther?
Exactly.
Why didn't they
Exactly.
hit him up? Like,
Exactly.
the
I
money
mean,
that you're gonna pay Bo Anthony Mackie and them, just take all of that and give it to Trevor and let
he,
Trevor come to the because like stuff
it
like
would have
that,
been sold out in seconds. There'd be a
stuff
Mm.
like
line.
that stuff like that is like if that's the kind of things that you need as well, because people also need to know this is not just, we know it started in America, we know,
Right.
nobody's confused about that,
Right.
but
In a basement somewhere. You know how it started,
hmm,
right?
no, but I'm saying like the thing is people think that this thing is an overseas thing. In
Right.
Yeah,
Totsamahoa, and
yeah.
you've heard all of it, like every phrase and every, like you've heard all of it, but we need to also say that there's a market here, and we need to also say like there's an industry here, and doing stuff like that. Like one thing I want to pitch to Comic Con, because it's no shade on Comic Con. Like I think they've done a great job. I just think that there's areas where they can improve and all of that stuff. Like with anything,
Right.
you know, like, and it's my personal ideas and all of that stuff. But like one thing I want to pitch to them, and maybe they pick it up or whatever, or maybe it becomes a part of one of the shows that I do, is that I want them to have like a weekly podcast where they wrap up like the week and all of the geek news that happened in the week, like because
Right.
it's Comic Con. Like
Right.
like people are watching Comic Con, like
Right.
people are
Right.
looking at Comic Con, and
Mm.
like
Right.
highlighting local boys, highlighting like there's this cartoon that's on Netflix right now, and I don't think it's getting enough push anyway. But it's called Super Team 4. I think it's from Uganda or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's about these four black girls. No, 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 Zambia. Sorry, not Uganda, Zambia. Whoopsies. Yeah, it's these four little girls from Zambia, and it's kind of like if you like Powerpuff Girls, it's kind of like that, but like
Right.
with a Zambian African twist to them. So
Mm.
like like having a review show on Comic Con Africa's YouTube channel about stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
that kind of stuff would help push like Kizazi Moto, for example, on Disney Plus. I don't see enough people talking about that. Do they have panels dedicated to that? Did they maybe hit up Nasty C to ask him what it was like to be a voice actor? Did they maybe hit up Pearl Tusi and say what was it like to work in the animation process? Like just stuff like that. I think is that
I
like
think
the
the best.
more. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
You know the voice actors in SpongeBob, because SpongeBob now is in Zulu. Get those guys.
Mm.
How it's like to be voicing those iconic characters in Zulu.
Stuff like that. Like, yeah, you need
Because
to
that's
also
where we
just.
came from. People, how quickly do we forget that back in the before SABC there was this thing called CCV,
Yeah.
and they used to dub all our favorite animes back then.
Yeah.
And those are the things people don't know about now that we should really
Right.
be highlighting, that we actually do have a history.
Right. Right. But I guess
I
that's why
mean,
we're here now, right?
yeah,
Indeed,
yeah.
indeed,
We might not be
indeed.
as big as Comic Con, but
Yet,
we, yet, but I mean, it will be interesting to have an hour-long discussion about Captain South Africa
yeah.
or Kwezi, and actually dissect the characters, just like how the Americans have like podcasts talking about Batman Hush and
And
Avengers versus X-Men and all of these things. You know, we
and
need that.
and
Yeah,
critiquing the different art styles between the different characters and
right,
the vision each person has.
right,
That's the dream. That's the dream, where people will be comparing each other's works and saying, you know what I like about this character, what this artist could have improved on. not
right.
not to not to show not to go to the extremes where people are become toxic fans and stuff like that, but to have a fan base, to have a healthy expression about what they love and what they care about in this country. That's what I think is something we sorely need, because we are here.
Right.
It's not we exist here. It means that there must be a space for us to express ourselves. That's
Mm. But Buck, I want to ask you something. To someone who's watching this and actually has aspirations to be like you, in a sense that they want to have their own podcast, they want to have their own comic books. What would you say to those people now that you're more experienced in these things? Do you have any advice you want to give to these people?
Don't put your self-value into what you make. I think
Okay.
a lot of people quit
I need to write
because
that
when
down.
the thing is bad, they think that's a reflection on them. And
Mm,
they think that their whole life or their whole whoever they are is tied into this thing that they're making.
right.
And it's like my biggest advice would be happy first. Like just be happy with who you are and where you are, because that's the best stuff you're ever going to make. If you're miserable and you're desperate, you're not going to make the things that you like. You're going to try and make things that you think are popular, and then it's not even going to speak to the stuff that you want to make in the first place.
Right.
Like the stuff I make, yes, it's in a popular genre, but like at the same time, I'm compete. Like people are saying the stuff I'm making is saturated. Like there's no point. Everybody's told this story, yada 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 yada. So like, and I was in a headspace where I was desperate for a very long time because I was trying everything because I needed to make it and what. And I can tell you now that I'm in this different headspace. I am way better than I have ever been, and stuff is working out a whole lot better than it used to. So
Right.
like, love the thing that you're making, but don't make it your entire personality and identity, because then you're not going to ever start. Like I think
Right.
that's the issue with people, is that they tie everything into this thing that they're making, and it's just like you don't need to do that.
Right.
I
Right.
think it reminds me of the quote unquote downside of any social media, where it becomes chasing clout.
Mm,
Where if you find somebody makes a viral video, you find that now you make the same video, and everybody's now making familiar videos. I think right now everybody's that gang girl on TikTok, and they're busy licking ice creams. Ice cream so good, ice cream so good, because they found
Mm,
one successful person who made that video, and now they're chasing clout. It's not really
right.
it's
It's not who
it's
they are.
it's not who they are. It's not what they. I don't really think it's what they really love, but
Mm,
they're just chasing it because they've put that, like you said, they've put the identity into what they are doing. So
The other question I wanted to ask you is, to someone who's fascinated by maybe this conversation, and maybe they want to start reading comics or watching cartoons, do you have like top 5 comics and top 5 cartoons that you can recommend to whoever?
Yeah, I would definitely, if you've never ever read anything, I would definitely start local. So I would check out Kwezi, because that's very easy to get into, and and it's also very easy to follow and all of that stuff. And like the characters are very vibrant, and there's a lot of dynamic action. Like if you want to know what a comic book is and you've never read one ever, that's definitely the place to start. Also, it's cheap and it's easy to find. So like that's definitely where I would want to start. Stuff like Razorman as well and Captain South Africa would also be great places to jump into comics and everything. Our Batman, you've seen him somewhere. So like let's start local first and then you can go international. But
yeah,
like in terms of cartoons and everything, it also depends on the type of like if you're like our age, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm 28. So if you like come into cartoons like at about 28 or whatever, I would suggest like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's like a lot of stuff that you can watch over there. If you're looking for something a little bit more hardcore and you're still looking for superheroes, I would say Invincible, but it's just be ready. Like
yeah.
just
Be spiritually and emotionally ready.
It's
yeah.
not for kids.
Yeah, it's not. That one will definitely show you that these things are not all these things are meant for kids. There's some that are for kids, but
No.
not
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
No, yeah. And then
It's
if
like
you're going into anime, I would definitely say check out Demon Slayer, because that's pretty bite size. Dragon Ball Z is big, so I think maybe if you're looking for something nice and big, and if you're very adventurous, then I would say One Piece
oh God,
or
Stockholm syndrome.
Naruto or something like that. But
How's
like,
it?
yeah, if you're trying to start small, I would say Demon Slayer will give you everything, and My Hero Academia. Those things will give you everything you need to know about the anime, the genre or whatever.
No, absolutely. Those are good choices. I love them.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Mostly shonen. Mostly shonen. That's good. I wanted to know your thoughts on some of the stuff that's currently trending now. Like for instance, Finland Saga. Have you seen Finland Saga? What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
Finland?
yeah, yeah. I read the manga and I did watch the series. I love it. I love what they're doing with that all. And I know people are hating like season 2, but also sometimes it's nice to see something different. It's nice to see somebody try to be peaceful for once in these things. Like it's
Like
nice to
the
not see
opposite of
vengeance all the time.
the opposite of Aaron.
Yeah, because Aaron is another problem. Yeah, I have issues with that guy. But like it's nice to see. Like I do like Vinland Saga a lot.
Mm, no, no, you're adding to my list of things that I need to rewatch.
Yeah, please watch it. Please watch season 2. I love season 2 as well. It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm just like sometimes people can also just be sharp. They don't have to be crazy all the time. Like like I know people are like, where's the action and where's the? It's like guys. Every time like. Maybe let's just try this out. Let's try a thought experiment. Like you had Aaron where he destroyed the world. Maybe let's see some,
But
You
maybe.
know,
oh, sorry, please quote the below. I'll say it afterwards.
I think, which is ironic because some of my favorite animes are about somebody who decides to act against the trope of going for all out vengeance. I
Mm,
mean, despite how controversial the author is, Kenshin is still my favorite anime,
yeah.
which I can
Me
still rewatch, and it's
too.
all about redemption and choosing the non-violent option. And
Mm,
then the other one that I also liked was History's Strongest Disciple, where we've got these super powerful masters who are literally go by the oath, the life-giving fist, which means they won't go for the kill shot. They'll beat you, but they will never kill you. They will never use assassination techniques. And it's such a reversal to the norm.
yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, no,
crazy.
I think the idea of battlefields covered in blood is getting a little too much now,
Mm,
which
mm.
is which you'll
No,
find out is
also
the
the
current.
reasoning sometimes, like, oh,
Yeah,
sorry, no, Huzo, you go. I'll say this
Okay.
after.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I wanted to say that what makes Finland interesting is the the one person that the main character wanted to kill is dead. So it's
Mm.
a what now situation. It's like now that he's dead, what's gonna happen? You're still alive. You still have a life to live. And I think even the character that he was supposed to kill, Askeladd, ask him that question. What now? Okay, sure. Let's say you kill me. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with your life? Are you gonna get married or what now? So I'm glad that they tackled that thing because with most of the anime, it's like okay, Frieza's gone. Now let's introduce Cell. But with Finland, it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
no,
yeah.
Frieza is dead. What now, bruh?
It's
Mm.
it's it's and it's the reason why for me Tokyo Revenge just kind of sucks for me now
Because
because
he's hopping back in time every time now.
no, okay, spoilers for those who are still reading.
I'm caught up. Like I pretty much know most of this. I
I
haven't
mean,
finished the manga because like for me the story ended like 200 like 100 chapters ago. I'm like, guys,
the
why are we still here?
yeah, the moment
Yeah.
the moment that guy got hit by Truck Kun, when Truck Kun Isekai, the main bad guy, when that happened, the story was over for me. What's the point of you going back in time now?
But it's like Death Note. When L died, I felt like
Oh no, I was mad. I was like, because I hate Light. Light is like he's
yeah,
the most entitled. He's
yeah,
the most entitled. Like
yeah. I
him
hate.
and like Aaron is second to me,
I
but Light is number
I
one. He's at the
I I
top
I
because
I knew there was something I liked about you. Thank you.
you that is the most
I
infuriating.
I
I'm
I
like, bro, you have
I
everything. Like you
I
have everything. You have
I,
two parents. You have a
Yeah.
nice house. You're like top grade in the school. What
Girls
is
are
the
up
beef
with
here,
you, like girls like you.
bruh?
you see,
Yo,
that's why I always used to punt Code Geass over Death Note all the time. All the time because Light never made sense to me. At the end, it's like, okay, it's so he just goes crazy.
And then there'll be people who will be defending him, like, no, Light is removing the. It's like, well, no, it's like this guy
That
didn't have issues. He didn't
that
have anything. There was no shonen anything. Like his father's fine. His father's great, and he kills his father. Like,
he
what are we talking
he
about?
he
you
he
know what?
became he developed a bigger god complex than Aizen. Prove me wrong.
No, you're right.
No,
You know
Aizen
what?
Same.
had reason. Light just
You-
decides.
exactly.
You know what would have been a bit interesting
Yeah.
if his dad knew all along, bro.
That's
Like,
another
Okay.
thing. I'm just like, what a
it's-
type of parents are these? My parents
yeah,
would never, I could never get away with a death note. Never. Never.
They would
It would
know.
never happen.
Parents know.
moms have a way of finding the stuff that you hide, no matter how smart you are. They'll find it.
I think that's the reason why most anime parents end up dying or going out of the equation because we can't reconcile kids going out and doing all these things in the middle of the night and parents are just saying,
They
"Ah,
don't.
they would know."
That's why
Ha-
I've always questioned Ichigo's father. Like, are you telling me that you cannot hear people arguing in the bedroom?
There's a you can't hear a girl's voice,
Not
or
even just
maybe
the girl's voice. There's like Renji, there's Chad, there's everybody in this small
no.
bedroom.
That's why they had to give him his powers and like have to like prove that he was pretending not to know, because at some point it gets ridiculous.
Yeah,
Ichigo is
yeah.
never a quiet, has never
No,
been
but like
quiet.
just to get back to Light, I'm like his mother never kicked in his room and took his washing. His dad never just went in there and he's just like, what's going on? Like my dad used to do that. My dad would be like, this is not
Yeah.
your house.
Instead,
You're not even renting. You I'm allowing you to live here. What's going on in here?
they
What's
plant
with your sudden
cameras in the
obsession
house.
with apples?
Yeah, no, my parents would ask questions. That's why I'm looking at Light like how did you how? My parents would ask questions. They'd be like, what's going on?
That's a
Oh
convenience.
man. Look, Ish, we're almost running out of time.
Yeah, we're almost out of time.
This
Yeah.
feels very short. It feels very short. But man, we thank you so much for joining us, and we actually got to know you better. I had no idea that you traveled. I questioned the accent when I first heard you, but I was like, "Oh, it's not bad."
You
And
know
I
what's
would
the
like
funny
to thank
thing?
you for actually introducing me to Double Toasted. You did a
Oh,
you did a review about Invincible, and then you were talking about Double Toasted, and I've been watching those guys ever since. So man, I hope to see your stuff on Webtoon. I hope to see more of your podcasts, and to see you at Comic Con, do your thing. Is there anything that you would like to say to people who've been following you, who've been watching your stuff, reading your stuff?
hey, first off, thank you, because you don't like I like sometimes you want people to read, but you don't know that they're reading. So,
Mhm.
anybody who checks out anything of mine, like I'm big shout outs. I'm so grateful to all of you and everything. Just to give you guys like a quick heads up before we get out, I'm just gonna show you some things that I was working on today that you'll get to see tomorrow. That you'll get to see in a book or something like that. So yeah, these are some of the sketches that I was working on.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Is that the Loomis movie?
Super.
Oh no, that's the T'Challa stuff. So all of this stuff is gonna be in a book very
Yo,
soon.
your art is on point, bruh.
Always.
It can be better, but it can be better, but we get to.
I will never when when an artist is never satisfied with his own work.
Uh,
I think I've come to that
yeah,
realization.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
that's
it's
why I
like
gave that piece of advice that I gave a little bit earlier. But like, yeah, so that's some stuff that is coming out for anybody who's checking out any of my stuff. More Black Panther fan comics, more Black Fist. I forgot to mention that as well. That's my Black Panther meets Dragon Ball Z. That's also on Webtoons. The first 3 episodes are out and all of that stuff. So anybody that's ever been following me for anything,
put
thank you
up
for
the
giving
link.
me some of your time. Like that, like time is precious. So thank you so much for any time that you guys give me.
It's in
An- Anything you wanna say, Tebello?
now. I was just saying it's been a blast. Been an honor being with you guys. Once again, I've learned so much. I'm excited. I'm galvanized. I think yeah, no, we are with the level of insight and wisdom that the people in this the conversation we had this today have brought. We are onto something big. I think
Mm,
we are onto
mm,
something big. And once
mm,
again, like I mentioned all the time, I'm the eternal optimist. I see I see a gigantic dawn coming
mm,
for local content, and it's because of people like you that we meet and we talk about and we get to see your work, and we are honored to be play a part in bringing your content to the local market, and I'm happy with taking part. So thank you for
yeah,
coming in, and
yeah,
thank you for your time. You said you said time is precious, and we acknowledge that you've given up some of your time for this. Thank you.
yeah. Look, if there's anything that I want to tell anybody that's watching this, one thing you can learn from Buck is release your stuff.
Yeah.
He has released webtoons, he has released podcasts, he has been knocking on doors, albeit through DMing people, no matter how big or small they were. He's
Mm.
been interviewed by people overseas. So if
Mhm.
you need any form of motivation, just look at this guy. He's the living example of just do it.
Just do it.
Nike, I hope you're listening.
I
This
think
is this is your ambassador right here.
I think I think we should just come to that point where Sheila Wolf is busy going like, just do it.
But yeah, man, we hope you will come again, man. Because we really like having you around, and maybe we can talk about other things like Bleach and any other anime. Maybe we can break them down, characters, arcs, and all of those things. But thank you so much, man.
Oh
Thank you
no,
guys for
anytime,
watching.
anytime. I had a great time here. Anytime.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Africa is Next podcast. So from myself, Mr. Extrodin, and from Tivelo side and Buck, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate everything. And yeah, we'll definitely see you on the next one. All right. Cheers.
Peace.